Great. So welcome to the presentation. Today's presentation is Business Sales Breakthrough in 6 Weeks with Integrity, the Steps in the System. This is not the program. This is going to give you a taste of how this works. And I'm going to do a short presentation of how it works. And then you have an opportunity to ask questions, etc. And I'll be happy to entertain those questions. Okay. So who is this webinar for? If you're looking for consistent sales income, you're going to gain clients in the next 3 to 6 months in the right place. If you're looking for a humane sales system, one that you feel like can really truly connect and serve people who want to buy from you, you're in the right place. If you are starting out or building your business, this is a good thing to learn. If you want to learn to sell anywhere, party, or you meet someone at another course or a convention, or a networking event, or even a social event, then you're definitely in the right place. If you're looking to have a breakthrough in your confidence and momentum in selling, then you're definitely in the right place as well. I ask that nobody networks here, because it's really designed to be an educational event, just to be courteous to everyone and respectful to me. Please, and respect to everybody else as well. Please don't network, and please restrict your comments to questions that are relevant and pertinent to the presentation at hand, and we appreciate you being here. Okay, and if you can't turn your video on, just let us know in the chat, and we'll understand. But please try and turn your video on so that we can, make sure you're a real person, etc., etc. So intentions for this time together. What do you need to put in place to generate sales income in a small business quickly and with integrity? What makes a compelling sale so you can sell anywhere you go? How do you introduce yourself effectively? How do you get people intrigued in your introduction so you can get a meeting at least? How to frame your mind correctly so you feel comfortable, relaxed, and anchored in your integrity and truth to sell effectively. Now, we do offer a paid program, and this is called the 6 to 6 program, the 6 weeks to $6,000 per month. It's currently priced at $500, and Teresa, my admin, will post the link there so you can learn a bit more about the actual program. But I'm going to give you a taste of what we do in the program. You might decide to try this on your own. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do that. And the program is designed to really have an organized way to learn this system. You also have a Q&A. I'm going to do a short presentation here. In about 15 or 20 minutes, we'll have a Q&A. I would advise start lining up questions for the Q&A section. The Q&A is where you really learn. That's where the rubber meets the road for you, so you can learn how to customize what I'm presenting here to your own business, to your own life. And that's going to be important. Because you can't customize it, kind of what's the point? A little bit about me. I've mentored literally thousands of entrepreneurs to success since 1991. I'm a founder of a 200,000 plus member global entrepreneur community. So probably all of you came from some aspect of that community, either from my email list or from meetup.com or from Alignable or LinkedIn. I'm also the founder and CEO of the Global Small Business School, and author of 2 books published on Amazon, and with 2 more on the way. I speak a lot. I'm a corporate trainer for corporate trainings, difference maker, but I work primarily with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs like you, who are looking to have a breakthrough in their income. Very much a demand speaker. These are some of the places I've spoken at recently. And again, this just gives you a sense of who I am. Why do I do this training for you? In the course of networking, I host a lot of events, networking events. People come to me for support. I meet at least 10 to 15 people a week who struggle with selling. I mean, the truth is, I even struggled with selling when I first started, 30 years ago. 90 to 100% these people who come to me are kind of trained to be ineffective. They're trained in a certain model of selling that's probably not working for them because it doesn't fit them, or it doesn't fit the market, or it's not addressing what people really need. So you may be speaking over people.
Mm.
You're not really, you're not really getting what they really need to sell. It's not your fault necessarily. It's just that something's missing in your radar in picking up something. And I like to train people how to fine tune that radar. So you pick up exactly what they need and you address that and you don't waste time for yourself or for them. And you honor the conversation. So I was trained very well in this way of humane selling. I don't sell a lot all the time, but I sell enough. I usually meet the right people at the right time. I ask the right questions. They say something and I go, you know what? I don't think I can make business for you. I'm very honest about that. But if I can, I'll say I can serve you. And this is how. And it creates a very honest environment and it works really well. It's very rare to find people like that nowadays. I like to train people to be the rare salesperson who actually answers questions. What a remarkable thing to do. My mentor was a great teacher. I like to really honor him by teaching you what he taught me, plus a lot of things I've developed in my own experience. Kind of feel it's my duty to teach people better. I'm 60 years old. I still got another 30 years to go. I sure like to leave a world behind like you guys who can actually listen and make sales an honorable position, profession to be in. So I feel it's it's a duty to teach you guys to sell in a better way, a way that connects with people, a way that intrigues. The art and science of intriguing people in a good way, not manipulating them, but intriguing them. That's way more interesting. In a way that meets people where they're at, in a way that works and creates confidence. If you're interested in all of that, stay tuned. If you're not interested, I'm not going to be offended if you leave. Okay. What I provide, tree transformations, is it's a system to use. I'm going to describe the system. And then a breakthrough in confidence. A lot of you are actually very good salespeople. In fact, I would say all of you are good salespeople because you're a human being. If you're curious about how people work, how human beings work, you can become a very good salesperson. And that's the key to getting a breakthrough in confidence. Because once you really are clear what people want, how people think, how human beings think, how they be, psychologically, logically, business-wise, you can sell. And you don't have to be someone who's extroverted. You don't have to be someone with a track record. You just have to have someone who can answer questions and ask the right questions. Ask the right questions, answer the right questions, and you can sell. And then the third part is, I help people make more money. Instead of more time, I say more choice. That's more interesting. If you have the choice, if you have more choice time in your life, time where, free time, you could say, where you have choice to work or choice to play, I think that's a lot more interesting. And of course, less stress. So these are the three things: a system to use, breakthrough in confidence, more money, more choice or more choice time, and less stress. A couple of testimonials here. I'm not going to belabor this, but just to give you a sense. Charlotte Jacobs is someone I worked with almost 20 years ago. She's still a very good friend of mine, still a client, still collaborate with her. When she first started, she was really struggling. And I promised her, I looked at what she had. And a lot of you, I'll probably look at what you have, probably make the same promise. I promised I could double her income. Actually, I think triple or quadruple her income in 90 days. When I looked at her numbers, I said, I can easily do that. And I kept my promise. In fact, it was less than 3 months. She went on to use those principles and built a multi-million-dollar business. Like I said, still a very good friend of mine. She leads programs all over the world with her husband. She has a magnificent lifestyle, everything that I promised here, a sales system, breakthrough in confidence, and more money, more choice, less stress. She has that in droves. Same with Alex Uterman. She's the leader of a spiritual church in Los Angeles. Similar kinds of breakthrough. She's now has free time to write a book that she wants to publish. She's got a publisher. It's what happens when you learn to sell, because you spend less time worrying about sales and more time making sales and making the right kind of sales so you don't have clients who are too much work. You want to have the right kind of clients too. Millen is still, he's almost like a brother to me. He's a younger brother. I mentored him. He was struggling when he first came to me as a financial advisor. I taught him how to sell in the right way. Again, focus to the right person, let the other people go who you cannot serve, and save a lot of money and time, and made a lot of money too. Right now, I think he's in India, having a great vacation. He's kind of spiritual, and he's got an interest in money as well, where he's spending time, finding his spiritual growth in India. So that's what you do. What can happen? It's important to be able to sell in a way so you can create your lifestyle as well. There's a couple of websites. Kriza, my admin, is going to post these sites in here if you want to check. On my website, sunilbhaskaran.com, you see about 200 odd or more testimonials. You can look up those and get a sense of who I am. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is describe the system. And, there are many models out there. I'm not saying mine is exemplary or better than anybody else. I'm just saying, if the system fits, model fits, use it. If it doesn't, you may have to modify it. For most people, I try to modify it. So modify it based on what you need, right? But this is the overall system, the template that the system could say. And there's a system, and then there's the skills to develop. So there's on the left-hand side here, you see the system. I'll go over it. Some of you may be obvious what it looks like, but there are nuances to this, so I advise you to really pay attention. And then there are skills to develop. These are all the things that I cover and help you create in the program that I'm offering. And I'll give you a sense of this here right now. So in the system, you need a people source. For a lot of you, it's going to be probably networking. You go to networking events, or you can set up your own networking events. We can use Meetup, which is another program I have where you can bring in people into your pipeline for a very, very low cost. But typically, networking Meetup on LinkedIn. You can also do reach out on LinkedIn to find your clients. There are low cost ways of getting a people source. But what we train you to do is once you have a people source, you have to develop some skills commensurate with the stage, which is you gotta learn how to introduce yourself when you go to a networking event to intrigue people. How do you do that? Or if you're leading a webinar or introducing yourself on LinkedIn, you have to learn to introduce yourself so you intrigue people. Most people do not introduce in a way that intrigues. And you may have questions about this. How do I introduce myself so I intrigue? And I can answer that in the Q&A. Because everyone is different. Maybe tell me a little bit about yourself. I'll probably give you a pretty decent introduction. And then you got to intrigue people so that they want to follow up with you. Or CTA means call to action. If you go to a networking event, it's not that, you just can't tell them, hey, this is my business card, call me if you want to. Most people do that. And you notice, most people don't call you. So you got to create a compelling call to action and know how to present it in a way or ask the right questions so that you can intrigue them, connecting the dots as you speak with them or ask them questions and they answer to intrigue them to go to your call to action. And that involves meeting them where they're at. Most people do it the other way around. They try to impose what you offer on them. And it's not a match. But if you find out what they need, and you say, listen, I got a discovery session, I got a follow-up meeting that I should have with you, and I think I have a solution for you, they're more likely to show up. In fact, they're more likely to chase you. And you're going to save a lot of time and energy doing it that way. So system, the people source, networking, Meetup. In the course, this course particularly, I focus more on the networking aspect, maybe a little bit on LinkedIn and how you can have a people source, and then I cover these skills as well. And you probably have questions about these in particular. I'll be happy to answer in the Q&A coming up here. And you probably want to have a follow-up consultation. Some people don't like doing follow-up consultation. They like to just sell at the event itself and hey, I understand, but nowadays with the competition, you're probably better up having a follow-up meeting that you set up at a networking event, for example. Then you have a one-on-one with them because if you've done this work correctly, this follow-up meeting will be quite easy to do. In fact, it will be a really humane kind of meeting where people feel like they really trust you. You're a human being that seems to care about them, knows what they need, understands what they need, and you have a solution. They're more likely to be intrigued coming to the follow-up meeting. So there are a couple of skills to learn here. One is, how do you filter people out who are not really committed to doing anything right now? And it's perfectly okay if they're not ready to do something right now. You follow up with them in another way. So you save time again. How do you set up the consultation in a way that works and still establishes a good relationship with them? Again, asking the right questions at this stage. The questions you ask here are different from the questions you may ask at this first stage, but they may be more deeper questions. And then the kind of questions that save you time and save them time, but also establish more trust and reliability with them. Then it's important at the follow-up meeting to show them a path to the future. A lot of intrigue is about understanding what people want in their future, and that you show them in 3 or 4 steps easily how your service or product can get them to that future. So they may want to be married if you're a dating coach. So you show them 4 or 5 steps to get it. Or they may want to resolve their current marriage, or they may want to, if you're a business coach, how you can provide business for them. If you're a broker or a mortgage person, how you can, in 4 steps, help ascertain the best mortgage for them and save them money and save them taxes, etc., etc. So you show them the path to the future. And now you have a successful sale, or you have somebody who's not going to buy from you, but may buy from you in a month or 2. So how do you follow up with them? So the successful sale involves, how do you design a good premium offer? In the first week of my program, I help you create a high premium offer. For some of you, it may be way more money that you make per client. Some of you may be charging $500 maybe for a client for a couple of sessions. I'm going to teach you how to charge $6,500, $7,000, or $4,000 for some of you, and make more money per client in possibly less time, while serving the client really well and having a compelling offer that probably makes more sense to them. It's very intriguing in the market today that people are actually willing to pay as long as they can see a reliable and good way to make a return on investment with you, whether it's monetarily or through some satisfaction they get out of working with you. Again, to sell, you have to ask the right questions. So you may be asking, well, what are the right questions I need to ask? And that varies from person to person. So you may want to ask that in the Q&A that's coming up. You also have to customize the offer to them. So you may have a prepackaged offer, but if you don't address how your offer is going to directly address their concerns, you're probably not going to make a sale. You're probably going to get something like, I got to wait and think about this. Or I don't have the money right now. Or I got to talk to my wife. Or I got to talk to the United Nations and get approval first before I buy from you. So you're going to get pushbacks like that. They're usually because you didn't quite set it up correctly and you didn't quite filter what they really need. Then you leave them at choice in the matter because, if you do your job right, it's an immediate yes or no, which is better than like a maybe. Because if people are maybe, they tend to take up a lot of your time, So you want to serve them by helping them, become a clear yes or no. Sometimes no is a good thing to hear because then it's just not the right time for them now. Or they're just not the right kind of person for your program. And in this kind of sales setup, you don't have to really handle objections. I'll repeat it again. You don't have to handle objections like, I don't have enough money. Can you reduce the price? I mean, you can work with price maybe, but you don't have to handle the objections with a lot of work. It doesn't take too much time or energy to handle objections. In fact, if you do it right, you may not have any objections. You'll have a very clear choice. So if you practice these skills, learn to refine these skills, if you design all of this right, which is very important in the 6-session course, we help you design your premium offer, how you introduce yourself at a networking event, how you get your discovery session, how you do your discovery session, how you make your offer. And, if you're still concerned about objections, I'll teach you how to handle objections. So if you design it right, refine your practice, with practice over time, refine the system. If you have a good email follow-up system, then you have what I call a solid, customized, and successful sales system. Not just sales, but you have a system now that you can rinse and repeat. So I hope that makes sense. It's important to have a system that you can rinse and repeat. Now, some of you may have done my previous program, which is the Meetup program, which gets you your people source. But if you haven't done that program, and you're doing constant networking right now, you can use the system for that as well. Okay, so I know some of you have done my previous programs. Okay, again, you may have questions about this, and I invite you to really look. How can I customize this system to me? What are the questions I need to ask? What are the right questions? How do I show them a path to the future? How can I customize the offer, et cetera, et cetera? You may have questions like that, and the Q&A that's coming up will help you do that. And if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat, and we will get to that very soon. So a couple of things here. What are the steps? So I had a good fortune of learning how to design at a very young age. I was an engineer, electrical engineer, and computer scientist. And my teachers, I was taught by some German engineers who are extraordinary designers. And they always taught me, the first thing you got to learn to do is design right. And how do you design right? How do you design a system? The first thing to understand in a system, when you design something, a sales system especially, it's going to figure out what you really need or want. What do you want, or what do you need to have? How do you know? You got to discover what you really want. Because if you know what you really want and what you want the sales system to look like, what you want it to deliver, then you can design it well. It's good to get specific and clear about what the system should deliver to you. So you design what you want to sell, the ideal program. And you want to look at what I advise people to do is, if you had a program or service or a product, and you want to design an offer written up on a piece of paper, and I call it the ideal or premier offer. It's a kind of offer where your client who buys it has no concerns about money or time, and they would buy that program because it's a no-brainer. You want to think about, even if you're a mortgage person, what is it that you can offer someone who has no concerns about money or time? And then you charge as much as you think that program is worth. That may be worth $5,000. Some of you may be thinking, well, it's actually a $20,000 program. And you'll discover that your price is actually kind of made up. But you're going to find out what your market is really going to be willing to buy. But you'll probably find out that you can probably sell at a higher price than you think. So the first thing to do is to identify and design that ideal program. Usually what I tell people to do is list out all the results and experiences that person's going to get out of working with you. So examples could be, they make more money, they find their ideal mate. If you're a dating coach, or if you're life coaching, if you discover a way of creating confidence for themselves when they ask or request for things and they get what they want. So they learn how to ask for what they want and get what they want. That's a great program for people to learn. Some people are willing to pay a lot of money to learn how to do that. So you design your ideal program. Now, you'll find some people may not be able to afford your ideal program. And as you sell it, you could take parts of your ideal program, cut down the price, and still be able to make a sale. But now people know your full value. And that's important. They don't think you're a $1,000 person. They think of you as a $30,000 person who is frankly doing them a favor by cutting down that price and still getting value. So you want to really frame yourself that way. That's why I start with your ideal program. Then from there, you design your discovery consultation. What does it take? What kind of conversation do you need to have? What questions do you need to ask for them in order for them to see the value of buying your ideal program? So you got to design your discovery consultation, your main meeting at which you're going to make an offer, right? Then from there, you got to design how you're going to offer your discovery consultation at a networking event or when you meet somebody, right? And then from there, you design how to find and treat the right customer. So we're going to the networking event. How do you introduce yourself? If you're brought in as a guest speaker, how do you introduce yourself? If you're doing a podcast as a guest, how do you introduce yourself? So if I work forwards now, if you're going to a networking event, step number 4 is how do you introduce yourself so you intrigue people? Then step number 3, how do you offer your discovery consultation so people feel intrigued to do it? Then at your discovery session or your follow-up meeting, how do you have that meeting efficiently so that you can sell the program to these people? And then what are you going to offer? And how do you offer that? It's not just what you offer, it's how you offer it as well. How do you have the conversation? What your frame of mind is? All of that plays a big role. Okay. So again, you may have questions about this. Like how do I design these stages? How do I make it happen? And I'll do my best to answer those questions, okay? The skills to practice. The first skill is, how do you do a compelling introduction so you intrigue people? Second skill, how do you ask the right questions? What are the right questions to ask? Right? What do they need? How do you discover what they really need versus what they say they need? Many people say something that they need, but that usually cloaks or covers a more primary need that they may themselves not know what that is. So you got to learn how to listen in a way and ask questions. So you find out exactly what they need and you address exactly what they need. And they know that once you address that need, it becomes their choice to pay you money to get the full solution. You also got to practice some patience, because some of you want a quick answer. Some of these people want a quick answer themselves, but you don't want to sell too soon. A lot of people sell too soon and they leave a lot of money on the table. So they hear someone saying, I can only offer $100. Well, okay, I'll work 20 hours for you at $100. You're underselling yourself. So sometimes you may need to be patient and ask the right questions. So you got, again, patience to find out what they want and how urgently they need your solution. How do you make a clear offer and have them move to the next step, whether it's offering the discovery session or offering the final service? How do you create intrigue? And there are two couple ways, there are actually a couple more ways, but one way is you create a compelling future. The future is the thing that they really want in the next few months or the next year. What do they really want? Have they defined it? I know Deirdre tutors kids. What do the parents really want? Because the parents are the real decision maker. The compelling future could be their son going to college. So they need to get math handled, right? And the parent doesn't have time So if they have a future where someone like Deirdre can handle that for them and help the child get better grades and thus get into a better school, maybe with scholarship, life gets a lot easier for the parent. You've got to look at the desired emotional state. It could be a relief from a problem, or it could be something compelling that they want, like more happiness, more joy, confidence, the confidence to sell, the confidence to market, the confidence to date somebody, the confidence to make a decision, the confidence to lead, the confidence to put their money down for a house. So you show the pathway to the future, and you show that the pathway is through you or your offer. And if you do that, now you can leave people at a very simple choice. They can get the future if they pay the price that you're asking for. And that's a very fair way and very good way of making a sale. So some of you may have the question, how do you create a confident mindset? Or some people call it a present mindset, where you're just present with people and you're not distracted by your own internal thoughts of doubt or worry. How do you get there? I find that it's my experience having taught this for 30 years or more. If you have the right system customized to you and it starts working for you, it creates a lot of confidence. It's kind of like from an external, it's from you have a right system. Also, if you have the right kind of practice, can become very confident. My mentor used to say, how do you become perfect at whatever you do? And some people will say, well, it comes with practice. But you can only get to really good or breakthrough levels or perfection, you could say, if you have perfect practice. So some of you may be practicing things that really are inefficient or ineffective. So if you have the right kind of practices, then you can attain results in a more effective manner. Okay. And different people have different styles. So I try to look at your style and fit the practice with your style. It comes with correcting the system against the market. So you have the system, but you have to look at the market, how the market responds, and make corrections as well. You have to be willing to do that. If you're willing to do that, then you have a lot of confidence. So no matter what happens, you don't have to get in your head and say, well, everything's failing and nothing's working. No, you can go to the system and make the corrections based on your market and get better and leave your competition behind, because most of your competition will get disenchanted with that system and give up. It's a person who keeps persevering and looking at the system and seeing how they can work it and wins the day. Developing the outside and the inside. The outside I've talked about quite a bit, the system, the right kind of practice. But you also got to develop the inside. The inside need comes from practice as well. If you learn to listen, you're going to learn a lot about yourself and about other people as well. And if you pay attention to that, you'll understand that you yourself need to be sold in a particular way. And if you're willing to struggle in the short term, to learn to create something in the long term, then you can create a confident mindset. Okay, so Greza is going to post how you can find out more about the program, the 6to6.net. Also, if you want to have a chat with me for free, Greza will post that as well. And 6to6chat.com. You can set up a time with me at no cost. And you'll have some questions to fill out. Make sure you fill out the questions correctly. And I'll be happy to have a session with you to answer more questions. So how do you start? You can either set up a 6to6chat.com, or you can sign up for the program itself. There's an early bird. The program starts in May, but there's an early bird program. If you sign up within the next week or so, and the first 10 people will get an extra session with me to help you get going within the next week or two.